Hi, thank you for joining Geek Colorado. This is the last day of Colorado Anime Fest Sunday, and I am here with Dan, and we are about to just have a little talk about some of his work. You may know him from the Power Rangers. That's probably one of his most famous and most popular, but you've done voice acting, TV, kind of a bit of everything. So the one thing that I want to focus in on is the physicality of being an actor, especially doing like the Power Rangers. What is your background, and how did you kind of, keep yourself physically fit for those more strenuous roles?
Well, I started out, it's a little bit different than the traditional acting route, because I was hired on Power Rangers Time Force specifically for my martial arts and acrobatic stunt skills. I originally screen tested for the first cast changeover, and then because I was flown down to Los Angeles to screen test, I decided to give an acting career a shot, moved to LA. I was already a black belt martial artist by then, a competitive full contact fighter, wrestler, and I competed in a division of martial arts competition called self-defense. So it's basically choreography. So I came with the skills, some of the skill sets, or actually most of the skill sets necessary to do my own action. And then I worked for one of Jackie Chan's choreographers for a little bit as his assistant, and that entailed co-coordinating movies. And I had co-coordinated The Scorpion King right after I got off Power Rangers Time Force. So anyway, I got hired to do the live shows. I believe I'm the only actor who's actually performed in the suit on stage. And then what they did after the live shows was they hired us to do appearances around the world for corporate headquarters, Saban headquarters, Fox. That used to be the stuntmen from the show, but they couldn't get them away because the show was producing episodes at a high rate.
Yeah.
So they hired us because we were the next best and had the experience in the suits, and they wanted people who had a lot of experience in the suits so we wouldn't hit kids or hit people on accident, or, and we could flip and do acrobatics. And that led to my working with the stunt crew when they were involved in choreographing another live show, a very stunt-oriented show. And then I auditioned a few more times and then finally landed the role that I got on the show. I was on the show as a stuntman for 2 weeks before they converted me over to the actor. So it wasn't about preparation for the role so much as it was that's who I was, that's what I came with. And then from there, my acting career has been very action-oriented up until now. I recently retired from stunt coordinating and co-coordinating and choreography and just acting. And that still involves auditioning for roles that require action, because that's that's very strong in my wheelhouse. But it's not only what I do.
How do you keep yourself from, or should I say, recover from injuries or safe on set? Since a lot of those things, we hear stories about, sometimes someone falling or something. Like what happened to Tom Holland. He was just, working on Spider-Man, things went wrong.
Well, I was also a stunt coordinator, so I'm very aware of part of your job as being a stunt coordinator. People think that when you're a stuntman and you're a stunt coordinator, that you're just a guy that crashes into things. But really, what they don't talk about is your job is risk assessment. So part of what I used to have to do is write risk assessments for the insurance companies to get them to sign off on the action you would do on set.
Okay.
And so you get pretty good at, sort of reading the room and getting a sense of this is going to be a little dangerous, and how is this being set up. And so a lot of the safety depends on the attitudes of the producers and the stunt coordinators. And I tell actors all the time, if you're scared to do something, it's okay to say no and have them explain exactly how they think it's going to work out. And if it doesn't make sense to you, it's okay to say no. Yeah. But for myself, I usually know how much risk is inherent from having done it a long time, and sometimes I'll accept a little bit more risk, and sometimes I'll say no, I'm not going to do that. And that's really how I monitor my own safety.
So not being afraid to state your boundaries,
basically. Exactly. I one time I did have to tell a director, he wanted me to slam. So it's funny, the falls that hurt the most as a stunt person is just falling flat onto your back.
Yeah.
and having to throw your feet up, because that's just straight flat onto your back onto the concrete. We wear a back pad, but there's a lot of whiplash that happens.
Yeah.
It's really a tough thing to do, to have to be thrown backwards and land straight on your back.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll put a pad down to save each other, let the guy exit frame, get a separate shot of him throwing himself from a lower height, hitting the ground, those impact shots. Sometimes the camera will be underneath and they want to see you slam onto the ground, so you can't put a hand down or anything like that, which is dangerous anyway.
Yeah.
So I had a director for a commercial once want me to throw myself onto the, it was originally planned to be on the grass, at which point I said I can throw myself from this high, look really great.
Yeah.
I can give you about 6 takes before I'm going to say, hey, I'm a human being.
Yeah, my body can only do so much, yeah.
Then they switched the shot to land on the concrete.
Ooh.
At which point I said, you get 3. And they tried to intimidate me a little bit. Well, the stunt guy, and I said, no. I've been doing this a long time. You get 3. This is hurting. This hurts, and it's not gonna be good for me in my health. Later on, there's gonna be some repercussions from this.
Yeah.
You get 3.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that they didn't need it to go that high.
Okay.
And so then I'm like, okay, well then I can give you as many as I can give you if it's going to be this low. So you have to negotiate your way through.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to put your foot down, because sometimes they forget that this is a human being doing this stuff, right? So each instance or scenario is a new animal to contend with.
And you just got to advocate for yourself.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so when I'm coordinating, I always make sure my performers are, well, I'm not coordinating anymore, because I don't like taking the responsibility. Being a stunt coordinator is this very strange place to be, because you want the producers to hire you more.
Yeah.
You want the directors to want to recommend you more, but you also have to advocate for the performers. And so you're in sort of this approach or avoidance conflict situation.
Yeah.
Now, I never wanted to be a stunt person, but it was my day job in between acting gigs. It was a good way to make money and pay the bills. So I did not care to stand up and be a little bit more assertive.
Yeah.
But that ended up making me more popular, because I was saving the production money.
Yeah.
Also, I wasn't just telling people no, I would have like 3 or 4 different solutions to the problem. I was really still professional about it.
Yeah. And I think that's the trick to get people to actually listen to you. It's like, yes, I'm telling you no, but we can do X, Y, Z has other options, and they're more willing to be like, okay, you're not just telling me no to be a jerk. You're actually, you have reasons.
Yeah, and I had learned to work like that, working with my first boss, who was like, okay, if you're going to say we can't do this, we need solutions. You have to give me at least 3 other ideas. Yeah. So that was good training in the beginning. So when I started coordinating on my own, that was some of the habits I brought with me. And then I ended up becoming requested too much, so I had to walk away from that. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. But it was a good career while it lasted.
Hey, that's okay. Everyone's got to find their time, and you're still active, still doing stuff.
I'm still active. I can still act until I'm 90.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can fall out of a window until I'm 90.
There's only so much the human body can take up to a certain point. So, are there any future projects that you are allowed to talk about right now?
Not right now. I'm back in school. During the pandemic, I went back to film school. I picked up 3 film degrees, and then I applied to Cal Berkeley for performance studies. Actually, originally for film, and I discovered performance studies was more aligned with what I wanted to do in terms of content creation. So I'm back back in school at Berkeley. I'm finishing up a degree this month.
So learning never ends.
Yes, and it was geared towards positioning me better as a director. I did produce a couple of projects in my career in the past, and so I have a lot of experience with that. And my film degrees cover screenwriting, directing, and post-production. So the whole idea is to just have this really good sense, strong sense, and education to support my experience. I did it backwards. Yeah. I did the 30 years of experience, and then went back to school, and that was actually very interesting to do, because I could align my experiences with what I was learning, realize, oh, if I had known this, this would have been helpful, and then realize, okay, all of this stuff is kind of what you learn on the job anyway.
Which pathway would you recommend to young people wanting to possibly go into the film industry?
Well, you have to follow your passion.
Okay.
Right? If you like making films, then you've got to look at whether you like making them right there in production, going on location, or you like editing instead, which is going to be post-production, right? I enjoy editing. I'm actually pretty good at it. I won some film awards in film school for some of my editing. But I don't like sitting in a dark room all day.
Yeah.
I edit because it was necessary for me to do that in order to get a few things out and get some things done. I used to like sitting on set doing production. I don't know if I like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hauling my butt to set and dealing with all of the issues that go down on a production. I am writing a book.
Okay.
So that is a project that I have going on, that's ongoing.
What kind of book?
It's slowed down since I've had to go to school, but now that I'm going to be back out, it'll pick up the pace. It's a novel. It's a fiction novel.
Okay.
I'm working with a publisher, so it's not self-published. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is more of the traditional experience.
Yeah.
So I'm in my third or fourth rewrite, and it's my first novel, so I'm very lucky to be working with this publishing company, Caffeine and Ink.
Okay.
And the publisher I'm working with is really helping me understand how to expand the world of a novel, because this is an adaptation from one of the first screenplays I wrote.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's aimed at Devil May Cry fans. It's supernatural fiction.
Okay.
Not what I want to spend 3 books writing about, but it just happened to be something that the publisher liked, that was an adaptation from the screenplay that I wrote, that it was supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
To just go off and shoot a bunch of heroes killing demons, right? A la Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Or any of those Bruce Campbell awesome movies. Even though those were zombies.
Yeah.
But now it's become this thing that he thinks could make a good franchise. He thinks somebody may want to make it into a television series. I think that would be great.
That'd be cool.
They could pay me and go do it. So like I said,
would you want a hands-on though if they make the series though?
Huh?
Like, would you want to be more hands-on? No.
It depends.
Okay.
It always depends on who's producing it. I'm perfectly happy to have them pay me for the rights and they can go make it.
Okay.
And when they screw it up, I can go, or if they screw it up, I can go, that's their fault, not me.
True, true.
No, but seriously, so that's where I find myself starting to gravitate. I still want to work as an actor, so I'm still doing that. But that takes us back to your original question, which is you have to follow the things that are interesting to you. Because the entertainment business is there's a very broad sort of spectrum of jobs you could fall into.
Yeah. And no one pathway is the right one. Yeah.
I loved doing special effects. I did that for my web series when I produced a web series back in 2010. When I was working as a co-stunt coordinator on Scorpion King, the special effects department said if I wanted a job with them, I could have a job with them. And I thought about it. I seriously thought about it because that's a lot of fun, creating trinkets and trying to figure out how to make them work. So, like I said, if that had been something that I had been really attracted to, perhaps that's what I could have done.
Yeah.
So it's really, you have to figure out what you want out of it.
True. Yeah.
What makes you happy. And that's not always acting, right? And then you can go down that path. That's my advice for potential film and television makers. And nowadays, you can just grab this phone. I have DPs all the time. I hear DPs all the time on set saying, you can make a great film with the technology right here in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
And they're right, you know, after I went back to school and studied cinematography, there's some great technology right there in the film. Look, we're shooting this interview.
Yeah.
So it's more, the technology has made it more available. Remember I told you that first script I wrote, it's converted to a novel. The reason I converted it to a manuscript was because it was too expensive to produce when I wrote it. Now actually I could go back and maybe make it.
Yeah, because of CGI is just cheaper. So.
Which I may end up doing.
Yeah.
I may end up being the guy producing my own.
That'd be pretty cool.
Producing my own.
You have the background skill set to do it, so why not?
Yes. These days, it's a matter of whether I have the energy.
No, exactly. And then has a quick.
Sometimes it's nice to just be a work for hire.
Oh, true. There is that.
No responsibility. Just show up, do your part, be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a quick little shout out, I wanted to remind everyone about Animal Rescues of the Rockies. That was this year's charity for they, and I know you're an animal lover and a dog trainer. I saw on your
I
Instagram.
wouldn't say dog training. But
Well, you were doing pretty good, at least with that one puppy we saw. But, you know, thank you for taking your time, you know,
Yes.
with the animals. You know,
Mhm.
that's really, really cool. And
I
something
really
you
have
don't
to give
see.
credit where it's due. That's more my wife's doing than mine. She will rescue anything and everything, and she has a good point. What are you going to do? Just leave it? No.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so,
But that's still a good thing that you still take part in.
yeah.
so.
She at first she had never. She was primarily a cat person, so I
Mhm.
was showing her how to rehabilitate a dog, get the
Mhm.
dog to trust people again, and you know
Yeah.
whatever their issues are, whatever you find them, right?
Mhm.
And now she's the expert on the dogs. She does really well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking time, and it's been great. And as always, please like and follow so that we can keep these interviews going. Bye.